There is a chain you cannot see. It wraps around your wrists every time you swipe a card. It tightens with every notification from your bank. And it whispers the same lie, that you will always owe someone, somewhere, something. But thousands of years ago, a king who ruled over unimaginable wealth left us a map out of this prison. His name was Solomon, and his wisdom on freedom from debt is not just ancient advice. It is a living pathway that still works today. This is not about getting rich quick. This is about breaking free. And the journey begins right here. The modern debt trap is not built with iron bars. It is built with convenience, with promises, with the illusion of ownership. You sign a paper, you take home a car, a couch, a phone, a vacation. The object arrives immediately, but the payment plan stretches into the fog of tomorrow. And tomorrow never seems to come, until suddenly it is here, and the interest has compounded, and the balance has grown, and you realize you are working not for your future, but to pay for your past. This is the trap. It is designed to feel painless at first. Low monthly payments, 0% for 6 months, rewards points, cashback. But beneath every offer is a calculation. The lender knows that most people will miss a payment, will carry a balance, will stay in the cycle. And when that happens, the trap closes. The average household now carries thousands in credit card debt alone, and millions more in car loans, student loans, medical bills. The weight is invisible, but it is crushing. The psychological toll of owning nothing is deeper than money. When everything you touch belongs to someone else, when the bank owns your home, when the lender owns your car, when the creditor owns your peace of mind, you begin to live in a state of permanent anxiety. You are not building. You are renting your own life. Ecclesiastes, the book of wisdom attributed to Solomon, speaks of the vanity of endless striving, of the exhaustion of chasing things that slip through your fingers. The borrower becomes a servant to the lender, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually. You lose the freedom to take risks, to change careers, to say no, to rest. Every decision is filtered through the question, can I afford the payment? And so you stay in the job you hate, in the town you want to leave, in the life you never chose, because the chain is too heavy to move. But there is a way out, and it begins with a choice between two paths, the snowball and the avalanche. The snowball method says this: list every debt from smallest to largest, ignore the interest rates, and attack the smallest one first with every spare dollar you can find. Pay minimums on everything else, but throw everything at that one small debt until it is gone. Then take that payment and roll it into the next smallest debt, and then the next. The power of the snowball is not mathematical. It is psychological. When you eliminate that first debt, no matter how small, you taste freedom. You see proof that the chain can break, and that momentum becomes fuel. The avalanche method, on the other hand, is pure mathematics. You list your debts by interest rate, highest to lowest, and you attack the most expensive debt first. This saves you the most money over time because you are killing the source of the bleeding. Both methods work. The snowball gives you emotional wins. The avalanche gives you financial efficiency. The key is not which one you choose. The key is that you choose one, and you start today. Now we come to the principle that changes everything. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. Solomon wrote these words with the weight of a kingdom behind him. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. This is not a metaphor. This is a description of reality. When you borrow, you sell a piece of your future. You sell your time, your energy, your freedom. The lender does not care about your dreams. The lender cares about the contract. And the contract is always written in the lender's favor. Imagine a farmer in ancient Israel. He has a hard year. The rains do not come. The crops fail. He has a family to feed, so he goes to a wealthy landowner and borrows grain, promising to repay it after the next harvest. The next year, the rains come, but not enough. He repays some, but not all. So he borrows again, and again. And after a few years, he no longer owns his land. He works it, but the harvest goes to the lender. He is still a farmer, but he is no longer free. He has become a servant. This was the reality Solomon saw. This is the reality we live in now. The names have changed. The tools have changed, but the principle is eternal. Solomon himself was the wealthiest king of his era. He had gold, silver, cedars, chariots, and a throne that made visiting queens tremble. But Solomon did not borrow to build his wealth. He stewarded what God entrusted to him. He understood that wealth is not about how much you earn. It is about who owns what you have. And if the bank owns your house, if the credit card company owns your income, if the lender owns your future, then you own nothing. You are a steward of someone else's property. You are working for them. The path to freedom begins when you accept this truth. Every dollar you owe is a piece of yourself you have sold. And the only way to buy it back is to stop feeding the system. Stop borrowing. Stop believing the lie that you can afford it because you can make the payment. Payments are chains. Ownership is freedom. Solomon knew this, and he wrote it down so that we would know it too. The borrower is slave to the lender. This is the first law of financial freedom. And until you accept it, until you feel the weight of it, you will never break free. Freedom requires sacrifice. And in the language of biblical wisdom, that sacrifice is called radical frugality. This is not about coupons and budgeting apps. This is about cutting the fat from your life with the precision of a surgeon. It is about looking at every expense and asking, is this feeding my freedom or my slavery? Your phone plan, your streaming services, your daily coffee, your car payment, your rent. Everything is on the table. Because if you are serious about escaping debt, you cannot afford to be comfortable. Comfort is what got you here. Comfort is what keeps you here. Solomon wrote in Proverbs that the borrower is slave to the lender, but he also wrote that the diligent hand brings wealth, while the slack hand brings poverty. Diligence is not just working hard. It is being ruthless with waste. This is where most people fail. They want to escape debt, but they also want to keep their lifestyle. They want freedom, but they do not want to sacrifice the things that make them feel free. But those things are not freedom. They are the bait in the trap. Radical frugality means this: you eat rice and beans until the debt is gone. You cancel the vacation. You sell the car and buy something cheaper. You move to a smaller place. You say no to everything that is not essential. And you pour every saved dollar into the chain around your wrist. This is not forever. This is for now. And the pain of sacrifice is nothing compared to the pain of slavery. Now we come to the second great principle, Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 10. Solomon, in his later years, after he had seen everything wealth could buy, wrote this: "Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income." This is the principle of contentment. And it is the key to everything. Because you can pay off every debt, you can build wealth, you can achieve financial independence, and still be a slave if you are not content. Contentment is not about having less. It is about wanting less. It is about finding peace in enough. Imagine a merchant in Solomon's court. He sells spices brought from distant lands. His business grows. He makes more and more silver. He buys a larger house. He hires servants. He eats finer food. But every night, he lies awake, thinking about the merchant down the road who has more. He cannot enjoy what he has because he is haunted by what he does not have. His wealth grows, but his peace shrinks. Solomon saw this pattern everywhere, and he wrote it down as a warning. The love of money is a hunger that cannot be fed. The more you have, the more you want. And if you do not master this hunger, it will master you. This is why contentment is the foundation of freedom. You can escape your creditors, but if you are not content, you will just borrow again. You will find new ways to feed the hunger. New cars, new clothes, new gadgets, new experiences. The trap will rebuild itself around you. But if you learn contentment, if you learn to say, "I have enough," then you are truly free. No lender can touch you. No advertisement can move you. No comparison can disturb you. You are at peace. And that peace is worth more than any amount of money. Solomon, the richest man who ever lived, learned this the hard way. And he left it for us, so we would not have to. Knowing the principles is not enough. You need a weapon. And the weapon is called income velocity. This means you do not just cut expenses, you increase income. You take on extra work. You sell things you do not need. You start a side business. You tutor. You drive. You freelance. You hustle. Every extra dollar goes straight to the principal of your debt. Not to savings, not to investments, not to anything else. To the debt. Because the faster you kill the principal, the less interest you pay, and the sooner you are free. This is the attack phase. This is where you go to war with the chain. But you must be strategic. You must understand that not all debts are equal. High-interest credit cards are bleeding you dry. They are the enemy. Medical bills, on the other hand, often carry no interest. Student loans may have low rates. Car loans are somewhere in the middle. So you prioritize. You focus your fire on the debts that cost you the most. And you do not stop until they are dead. Some people work 2 jobs during this phase. Some people do not see their friends for a year. Some people live in discomfort that their peers cannot understand. But they do it because they know the alternative. The alternative is decades of slavery. The alternative is working until you are 70 and still having debt. The alternative is passing the burden to your children. And that is unacceptable. Now comes the turn. Because even with all your hustle, even with all your frugality, the numbers may not add up. The debt may be too large. The income may be too small. This is where wisdom becomes negotiation. Proverbs teaches that a soft answer turns away wrath, and that a wise man seeks counsel. You can negotiate with your creditors. You can call them. You can explain your situation. You can ask for lower interest rates. You can ask for hardship programs. You can ask for settlements. Many creditors would rather get 70 cents on the dollar now than chase you for years. Many will work with you if you are honest, if you are humble, if you show them a plan. This is not about dodging responsibility. This is about stewardship. If you owe $10,000 at 25% interest and you can negotiate it down to 15%, you just saved yourself years of payments. If you can settle a debt for less than you owe, and you have a lump sum to offer, you may cut your burden in half. Solomon was known for his wisdom in negotiation, in finding solutions that others could not see. You must bring that same creativity to your situation. Do not accept the chain as permanent. Fight for terms, fight for mercy, fight for freedom, and do it with wisdom, not with anger. Anger closes doors. Wisdom opens them. And now we arrive at the deepest truth. The spiritual freedom of ownership. When you own your possessions, when you owe no one, when your income is yours to steward, something changes inside you. You stop living in fear. You stop making decisions based on survival. You start making decisions based on purpose. You can give generously because you are not drowning. You can take risks because you are not chained. You can rest because you are not running. This is the freedom Solomon spoke of. This is the freedom that God intended. Ownership is not about pride. It is about stewardship. When you own your home, your car, your life, you are free to use those things for good. You can host people. You can lend without fear. You can serve without distraction. The Bible speaks again and again about the blessing of being a lender, not a borrower. Deuteronomy promises that if you obey God's commands, you will lend to many nations, but borrow from none. This is not about wealth for wealth's sake. This is about freedom to serve, freedom to love, freedom to live according to your values instead of your creditors' schedules. The journey out of debt is not easy. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you time. It will cost you the approval of people who do not understand why you are living this way. But on the other side of that sacrifice is a life you cannot imagine from where you stand now. A life where you wake up and no one owns a piece of you. A life where you wake up and no one owns a piece of you. A life where your work builds your future, not someone else's profit. A life where you can breathe and plan and dream and give. Solomon walked this path in reverse. He had everything, and he learned that it meant nothing without wisdom and contentment. You are walking it forward. You are starting with nothing, with debt, with chains. But you are moving toward freedom. And every payment, every sacrifice, every no, every extra hour of work is a step closer to the life you were meant to live. So here is the final word. The river of wisdom flows from ancient times to this moment. Solomon's teachings are not dusty history. They are a living map. The borrower is slave to the lender. Contentment is the foundation of wealth. Radical frugality is the weapon. Income velocity is the attack. Negotiation is the strategy. And ownership is the prize. You are not too far gone. You are not too deep in debt. You are not too late. The path is here. The wisdom is here. And maybe, just maybe, you are finally ready to walk it. If this reflection resonated, follow the path of the Solomon Wealth Code, where ancient wisdom meets modern freedom, one truth at a time.